Hello and welcome to the Futro Hood Movie Devs podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Not actually a line from this movie, but we got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
What was the title of the movie he recommended? I can't remember.
You have my wife? Do you have my wife?
No, it's where there's a will, there's a way.
It's like,
Dave made a maze.
It's like, that's very true. No, that's the movie I recommend. Cameron, I was just totally thinking of you recommending movies to people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Do you have one in mind you want to recommend me?
Dude, that is music to my ears when people say that shiz.
We've got Cameron Mickle on the pod.
Oh, I just literally had my quote. What the fudge?
Yeah, he said that too.
I'm literally blanking. Oh, go to Grant and they'll come back to me.
And we've got Grant Mickle on the podcast.
Are you lying to me? You're lying to me. You're acting crazy.
Oh, yeah. I remember mine. I am your only mother. You are my only son. Dude, that part in the trailer. Oh, he's not. This trailer is one of the best trailers of all time. This and Predators. And it comes at night. Holy shiz.
Yeah, Chaos is Order Undeciphered. I thought that was interesting. But it's just a quote that appears. No one says it. Let's get into this movie. It was called Enemy. It came out in 2013. It was directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's written by Jose Saramago and Javier Guillon. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Melanie Lauren. I don't know if the T is pronounced. If it's a French name, probably not. Melanie Lauren. Sarah Gadon. Isabella Rossellini, and many, many others. But I should mention Jake Gyllenhaal again because he plays two different people. Although, I don't think they're actually two different physical people.
Did he do it better than Nick Cage, though?
As doppelgangers go, yes, I think this movie, Jake Gyllenhaal. But to be fair to Nick Cage, I didn't like either of his characters that he was playing, so that's a hard thing to do. Bless his heart. Being Charlie Kaufman and Charlie Kaufman's imaginary friend or brother.
I highly disagree. I think it was an amazing difference between the two.
Although, I'm just saying, like, I didn't find him as compelling as, like, this movie, where I'm like,
Jordan,
Jordan, Anthony's
look me in the eyes and tell me
yeah.
that Nick Cage did a better job than Jake Gyllenhaal.
I actually think he did. And I think there's a few moments, actually, when Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm like, ooh, he's clearly looking at, like, a tennis ball or something.
You only know that because you know that's what freaking Denis Villeneuve did.
I thought he got someone else and he CGI'd his face on it, you know?
Well, it changed. Sometimes they use tennis balls,
I
sometimes
thought he filmed this movie 10 years ago, and then he used de-aging, CGI graphics and de-aged Jake Gyllenhaal to act opposite of older Jake Gyllenhaal.
But Cameron, I say it's very close. Like, both their performances are unbelievable.
Isn't this the Gemini Man? Are we reviewing the right movie? Will Smith? So, guys, Enemy. Oh, boy. Okay, I got to read the plot synopsis because it makes me laugh. A man seeks out his exact look-alike after spotting him in a movie.
Just real quick, did you know that...
Nothing really can prepare you for what
what's
you
his
see
name?
in this movie.
Javier Bardem and Christian Bale were both sought out for the role, actually. But Javier Bardem turned it down, and then Christian Bale had a scheduling conflict. So Jake Gyllenhaal was actually the third option.
Which is interesting
poor
because
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal made Prisoners before this. No, it was Enemy first. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, Prisoners just got released after.
And then after he did Enemy,
Or
he's
before.
like, oh yeah, he can still act, I guess. I'll put him in Prisoners. He's all right. Even though I'd rather have Javier Bardem or, who was it?
Christian
Javier
Bale.
Bardem or Christian Bale. Yeah, well, and to be fair, Jake Gyllenhaal had been like a child actor, like from like early on with
from Red Sky.
October Sky and then Donnie Darko, but then after that, he kind of disappeared for a while. Then he came back with like Brokeback Mountain and movies like Enemy, where he like became this art house kind of. And then he had Spider-Man, you know. Now he's
And Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia was his like first big blockbuster.
Oh, I think that's what put the nail in the coffin, though, because I don't know, a lot of people didn't like that movie. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was awesome.
I love the video game.
I was 13.
I mean, his performance, though, in everything he does, he always gives 110%.
He's like, I actually did parkour. I ran around with a bunch of freaks on the streets of New York and practiced parkour every day, you know.
Parkour. He practiced with Michael Scott.
I actually feel like I'd be scared of meeting Jake Gyllenhaal in real life. He gets really intense.
Oh, no.
Saying Jordan, who has Nicolas Cage on his pillow. I don't think he'd be really afraid to meet Jake Gyllenhaal because he's the nicest guy imaginable. Watch him in interviews.
Have you seen interviews with Jake Gyllenhaal? He gets intense, Ty.
Yeah, watch him in interviews, especially with Ryan Reynolds. Those two are chaotic together.
No, but they're hilarious. Like, not intense.
No, but Jake Gyllenhaal got intense. He looked like he was ready to tear some heads off.
Oh, come on. Okay, you're gonna have to send me these interviews because I don't believe it.
Have you heard Denis Villeneuve talk about Jake Gyllenhaal? He says that they both have very big personalities, and he says they butt heads quite a bit. It's just...
Well, did you know, Denis Villeneuve in an interview talked, and he explained that this movie, he said it could be compared to his own subconscious or the subconscious of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Which was really weird that he didn't say Anthony or Adams, like his character. He literally says Jake Gyllenhaal's
like the human
subconscious.
being. Yeah, you're like, oh.
Which is really weird. That's what made this movie very intriguing to me. Again, so let's get into what was like watching this for the first time, rewatching for the podcast. I could start. I have a big disclaimer to make. I did not rewatch this movie for the podcast. I've seen this movie once, and it left an impression for sure, because I've seen this whole movie in its full splendor.
Which is a bummer, because it actually is better on rewatch, just saying.
I'm sure it might be, but I'm very, very callous toward this movie just because I think that, I don't know, French directors can be pretty liberal with what they put on screen.
Yeah,
so.
Well, it's funny because you're okay, though, if it's like dead people worshiping Satan, but, you know. If
yeah,
it's
I will say, Ty, your morals sometimes do lean with whether or not you like the movie. I just think it's funny.
I think it just depends on if it's just compared to with. I get it.
Yeah, no, fundamentally it's about an unfaithful spouse, and he keeps relapsing, so I don't know what you guys are saying. Like, you're like, I'm okay with...
That's not what we're saying!
I think makes me uncomfortable. Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
No one said, I'm okay with you. We just think
you guys said, I'm okay with dead, cold, naked people. What did you say? You're like, whatever. You guys are painting me as some, what do you call it?
Two-faced? Nugget?
Yeah, two-faced nugget. Sure, you guys can accuse me of that. I'm just saying, like, I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily mind. And I know they say that. What I mean by that is, like, it's not that makes me dislike the movie. I don't like the premise. Like, again, we'll get into that.
No, I get it.
My biggest nitpick. Yeah,
I get it.
Like, I'm not rooting for.
It's the same reason Mom doesn't like sliding doors.
Sure. What?
No, it's about a cheating husband. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole premise is really upsetting because anyway, I don't know who to root for and I don't.
Yeah, especially that end shot where he sits there and smiles. You're like, oh no, like he's gonna go back to his addiction. It's as sad as Mississippi Grind when he's like listening to that tape.
Exactly. See, and I like that movie, but it is bleak as. I wouldn't sit down with my friends and be like, hey, let's all watch Mississippi Grind. Like, I love that movie.
Love it.
But and like I said, I love the analysis from this movie. I just don't want to watch it again. Does that make sense?
No. Oh yeah.
So I don't want you guys to be like castigating me as like a two-faced son of a.
We're clarifying to people what it is.
Okay.
The reason that bothers you.
Well, you guys said I was okay with cult members. I'm like, no, I'm not okay with that. So I'd like to make the record straight.
But I'm letting people know what bothers you and what doesn't.
But you're more okay with it. Yeah, it's just funny because you're saying you're more okay with that than this.
What do you mean I'm more okay with that? That's the word you use. I'm not more okay with that.
You're just saying
my God.
You love It Follows. You're going to watch it again. I just rewatched it. Lots of people walking around. And you're like totally okay with that. And I get it because they're not having I get it.
We're just saying, Ty, it's funny because you're trying to, never mind. It's just like the way it's coming off as like the white knight of like, oh, I don't like this because of like this in it. And it's like none of us are saying we love the in this.
We're just saying get off your high horse, Ty.
That's why you watch it on VidAngel, and then this whole problem is solved.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that you guys are attacking me because you're like, well, we all rewatched it for the podcast, so Ty should feel as scummy as possible because he didn't rewatch it because he thinks he has some moral authority.
That's not what we said.
Trash.
No.
I'm trash. I'm a garbage disposal. I watch everything.
That's why this thing VidAngel
left such an impression.
exists.
I don't think I need to watch it again because I don't feel.
Said we watch it on VidAngel.
Yep, that solves everyone's problems.
Guys, okay, let me make this very clear. I am far less closer to heaven than any of you guys are, okay? You guys are much closer to heaven than I am. When the rapture comes or whatever happened, you guys are being ascended to heaven, I will be sure to grab onto one of your ankles, okay? I'll be like, pull me up higher, the fire's burning down here. So don't worry, I am not placing myself on a high horse. I'm just saying this was my experience watching this movie.
It's going to be like, this is the end where he's flipping him off as he's going to heaven, and then it just drops him out of the sky.
and then I stop ascending. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly me. So thank you for making that clear because, yes, I can understand how I just said that it can kind of come off as like, well, I didn't feel okay rewatching this movie. What I'm saying is I watched this movie in its entirety. I didn't watch it on VidAngel the first time. And after
you should
watching
have. I think you would have liked it more.
Yeah, probably. And then again, I don't know if I would understand it. But then again, I've never understood a single Denis Villeneuve movie I've ever seen before.
Yeah,
never.
The first
Not on
time
rewatch, or first
for me,
watch,
Ty,
yeah,
is like I did not understand this movie at all. At the very end, I was like, why did people like this? But then when I heard he was directing Blade Runner 2049, I'm like, yeah, he seems like the right person to do it because I don't understand it.
Yeah, no one understands.
I didn't understand it. You're like, maybe we'll get another Tears in the Rain speech, like, no, we're just going to get a giant effing tarantula in the middle of the center of the room. What?
Yeah, but
what?
But Ty, watching a rewatch because of the idea that this is all just about him cheating, like that. I mean, everything makes sense. All the imagery and everything. Like watching it a second time,
Holy
it makes so much sense.
It does.
It does.
It makes so much sense after I had someone else explain it to me on YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
yes. I mean,
exactly. And then you watch it a second time after someone explained to you on YouTube, and then you're like, oh, I'm smart.
Right.
I understand film.
Well, that's the thing. And like I said, ultimately, I didn't feel like I needed to rewatch the movie to be like, okay, they broke down everything that I didn't understand.
I get why you wouldn't rewatch it.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. So that being said, satanic cult people are fine, but when it's having it's very problematic for me, okay?
Yep.
Jeepers creepers, folks. My goodness. Guys are all like, you're not better than us. You're not better than us. I'm going to put my thumb through your fifth eye. Guys, I'm the only one that swears on the podcast. I should be better about what I say. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm not putting myself. We're all reviewing.
This whole opening is going to be one long bleep.
Yes. Yeah, we're all going to hell. So it'll be fun. I'll see you there. Save you a spot. My goodness. I just felt like, this is a really tough movie. It's like a heavy movie. The colors, everything. The atmosphere, everything. So heavy. Did not rewatch it. But like I said, I love the analysis of it. And I'm very intrigued what you guys have to say. And maybe on rewatch, you guys caught some new things. So Jordan, what was it like watching it for the first time or rewatching it for the podcast?
I already mentioned that I didn't understand it. And I was what's going on? And I was just like, there's way too much inappropriate stuff at the beginning. But the second time watching it...
Too much inappropriate stuff throughout. See, that's why, again, you guys say edit it. I don't know what you're going to edit out of this movie.
Well...
The movie. Which is all of the movie. The entire plot centers around it. The entire characters.
That's the same thing that everyone says when I say I watched Wolf of Wall Street on VidAngel. Well, then you watched a 3-minute video?
Yeah. And there's actually a lot left. You sound like all the people that are against VidAngel, Ty.
No, there's literally an hour and 58 minutes. Yeah, it's fetching amazing.
Yeah, I'm amazed that, it's like... maybe this movie makes a lot of sense without VidAngel. But even if you edit
Wolf of Wall Street was an amazing movie with edited, and so was this movie. VidAngel does not take out the meaning, and anyway.
It just takes out a few people.
Yeah, you might miss
more
one or
to it
two.
Besides that, Ty.
You might miss
you're
one
just
or
caught
two.
up on that.
No. This movie is purely people.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, anyways, same thing with Hot Tub Time Machine. I skipped over the bad stuff with my
We
wife.
should all say who's the most comfortable around people here. Let's ask. Let's take a poll of the audience.
Definitely you, considering that I'm the only virgin here, I'm probably the least comfortable around people.
Given that you're a mama's boy, you probably watched these kind of movies with mom. But after we left, you're like, "Mom, isn't this beautiful?" And she's like, "What the hell am I watching?" Like, "Mom, you don't swear." Oh my gosh.
I did not watch this with Mom.
Yeah, I bet you watched this movie with Mom. You're like, "Oh, Mom, can you tuck me in and read me a bedtime story?" It's called Enemy.
I did show her Sicario, which was a mistake. A little too dark for Mom.
Yeah.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
I know. Especially the bodies on the wall. So this one, I just like
all the drugs and the count of the anyway. Yeah.
The second time watching this and the third or fourth or fifth or whatever, how many times I've seen it, there's so many little things that I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And I get so emotional, like the time when he's like with his wife, like saying he's sorry to her,
crying
because it makes sense now knowing like, oh, it's because he cheated on her, not because he's two separate people. That there's another person that looks like him. But because the first time I watched it, I just took it at face value. I'm like, oh, it's just another person. I'm like, there's a lot of weird things going on.
Yeah, like Jordan took it at face value that there are giant spiders in the city. Oh my god.
Well, no, I just thought those were like dream sequences or something because he did have a dream with a girl with a spider head. But this idea that what am I trying to say?
Yeah, what does a spider-headed woman have to do with that? What is that, Jordan? Tell us the meaning of that.
And Ty, did you not love the... Oh, you didn't see it again, because I was going to say, at the very beginning, he talks about how we learn from history, and he talks about dictatorships.
No, I watched a recap.
Oh, okay, cool.
Movie.
So I love that stuff,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh my gosh, like, that is totally what's going on today in today's society. It's like...
And he said every great event happens twice, and then he does the same mistake twice.
Yeah, and it's fun that they repeated that same part again, him teaching that to his his students.
Right. I thought that was very interesting. The whole quote, chaos is ordered undeciphered. Ironically, you have a history teacher that's talking about, history repeating itself. And this is a guy that cannot learn from his own history and repeats himself and causes the same mistakes, falls into the same patterns, same routines. Sorry, Eminem.
No, it's history. It's like we can learn from history. I mean, I hate to keep bringing up
Fall back into the same patterns, same routines. It was
But
Eminem.
Ty and I feel like we had a really good discussion after the first time you saw it. Like this idea that women weave webs. Like there's a lot of webs in the imagery of this film. Like there's the cable lines. If you look, they're all like crisscrossing. And then at the very end, the end shot when he closes up on
the car.
The car, there's the spider web. This idea that girls are trying to keep, especially an unfaithful man, trying to keep them together. And what am I trying to say?
Jordan is trying to say that all women are Black Widows and they're looking to mate with you and then eat your head.
No,
Just tear off your head.
But I think that's super interesting because I feel like, especially with women in majority, especially in today's society, it's always seen as like guys are always like a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times they're like, oh, what else can I get? And never satisfied. And so it's always the women, like you're saying, trying to tie them down, to be like, hey, be loyal and faithful to me. But there's always there's something more attractive than you.
Yeah, and I mean, I felt so much for this woman, this pregnant woman, because I was thinking about our mom, and it just it got to me, and it just is very emotional. And it's what did she go through, and how much did this husband torture her? And it's so interesting that he literally is almost a different person when he's cheating on her. It's she doesn't even recognize him. It's so cool. It's such a clever idea.
And the dialogue too, when she says, "I want you to stay," saying I want this version of you to stay.
Yeah, it might have been the first person she originally fell in love with, kind of thing.
Bring him back.
Yeah. For sure. So is anyone... well, let's get into what was like watching it for the first time for the rest of you guys. Cameron, how about you?
So I watched this the first time with Grant, and we watched it on Thin Angel. The movie's already confusing as shiz, and then you take out the scenes, so you even have less understanding what the fudge is going on, because they're just skip.
No, but if you don't take out the meaning, Cameron. You told me that, right? Or is that Jordan?
Not key plot points. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but
yeah, key plot points. This movie, key plot points. Club, infidelity. Am I missing something?
Okay, yeah. When that guy was in the elevator, Ty, and he's like, "I need to go back," I was like, "What the fudge are you talking about?" I didn't know if or something, but then I was like, oh, the key. I was thinking about the room.
All I could think about was Jack from Lost. We have to go back. Because we just reviewed Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, and I remember when they were doing the flash forwards, I remember thinking that it was like Lost when they were always doing flashbacks, and then the season 3 finale, it's there's a flash forward of Jack's life, and you find out that he's dying to go back to the island because he's a loser after he leaves the island. I'm that's pretty interesting. So anyway, so he took it from Lost, just saying.
And there's a joke in The Office where it's this is that time they met the others. I'm I wonder if that joke is going to get dated, because I wonder if Lost will stay the test of time, or if it'll just disappear.
I feel like our generation, me and Grant's generation, was the last to watch Lost. Maybe not.
Yeah, because The Office, I feel will live the test of time, but
yeah, for sure. It'll get dated. They'll be what's the Sixth Sense? What is Bruce Willis on the asteroid?
I don't know. Well, maybe Armageddon will die, but
yeah.
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Did you call it Armageddon? Armageddon. Anyway, who cares?
Anyway,
Cameron, what were you saying?
So I watched it the first time with Grant, and I was very confused. I remember 45 minutes, me and Grant, we just paused it, and we just talked for about 10 minutes.
We're
just
okay, we think we understand.
What the fudge is happening? We're why is there 2 of him? I don't understand what the spiders mean. We're is it dreams? And we just tried to explain it, and then we both were okay, we're both consensus, have no idea what's going on. Good. And then we
Me and Jordan watched the Birdman movie, and I was this movie's really stressful, Jordan. I don't know if I like this movie.
We watched that one edited too, Ty, for the first time, and we were I don't understand what's going on. Even though the edits, I watched the original version afterwards.
Just language, yeah.
Well, and it didn't change anything. I was okay, I could have done without it.
Still don't understand it.
Yeah.
I just remember, Michael Keaton. Anyway, love it now, but I don't think I had ever watched that movie again.
No.
See, that's another great movie that I like, and I like discussing, but I don't need to watch again. So that's another one. See, just saying, they're out there. And there's new That one.
Well, I feel like
boys.
this movie, though,
Oh,
perfect movie for
boys.
discussion. I just feel like there's so much.
Yes, it is.
You can
Yes, it is. Which is
pull
why we're
apart.
reviewing on the podcast. I just didn't rewatch it. That's all.
Anyway,
That's fine.
And it's
Wait,
important
wait,
to
Can
know
I
when
finish?
say
Can
rewatch
I
you
it.
finish
didn't
what it
you
was
didn't
like
rewatch
watching
it,
for the
Ty?
first
You
movie?
didn't rewatch
I
it?
didn't.
You
I did not
didn't?
rewatch this movie.
Wait, you said that already?
Can I talk about what it was
Yes, we
like
get it.
rewatching this movie?
Cameron, just
Cute,
go.
man. You're cute. I'm gonna fetch and squeeze my thumb in your eye, man.
So, so rewatching it for the pod, I kind of get the Vid Angel worked out. So I actually watched it unedited, which you can just skip, which is like
The entire movie.
no, but like
Keep going.
I don't know. And so, and rewatching, there was literally only. I feel like there was only.
Cameron, this is the number one movie I would not want to watch on an airplane
Can
with
I
kids sitting next to me.
please just?
No. Cameron's sitting with the iPad. It's like, just gonna skip a few of these parts, and he's just pushing 15 seconds forward, just keeps pressing it, and then the credits are rolling. Oh, there you go. No people in the credits, are there?
Ty, I saw a cartoon of somebody.
Oh my gosh, there's an after credit scene.
Ty, somebody made a video of like the dad's gonna show his kid a ghost in a shell, and he starts showing it, and then the girl's just like in that suit or whatever, and he's like, maybe I'll just skip this, and then it keeps skipping, and then gets to the end credits. That's what I keep thinking of.
There you go. See, yeah, exactly. So Cameron was watching this in front of his roommates, and they're like, "What are you watching?" He's like, "Nothing. It's beautiful. It's art." Get out of my room. What were you saying, Cameron?
Get out.
Anyway, so rewatching it for the podcast, I watched it unedited, and there was pretty much the only thing that I feel like I missed was there was just one time I liked it, like his face after he had like with his like mistress, his face just seemed so unsatisfied sitting in that bed alone, which I hadn't originally seen on the first time. And I just thought that was super interesting. Like that, but pretty much besides that, there wasn't really anything I missed with a little bit lost with the overall idea, but you kind of piece it together.
And I'm wondering when the girl starts freaking out about his ring finger because she was going nuts. Is it because she just figured out, or did it finally hit her and she kind of started to grow a conscience like, oh shoot, like I'm sleeping with a married man, I shouldn't be doing this? Is that why she was losing it, or is it because she didn't know he was married and finally realized it?
I'm assuming that the it's actually reversed. It's not Jake Gyllenhaal sleeping in the bed alone. I'm assuming it's the other girl sleeping in the bed alone, like than what they showed, because they show him sleeping in the bed by himself and her leaving, but I think in reality it's like he's leaving her every single time he just goes and sees her.
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying. Sorry, what are we talking about? Because I was talking about like she starts going crazy when she finds.
I know. I'm aware of what you're talking about, Jordan.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're talking about something else. I don't understand what you're saying.
Jordan, so did you
Well,
know?
no, you don't understand.
I can
Cameron didn't watch the movie edited, so he's seen a different movie than you have seen.
Oh my gosh. Forget this, dude. Whatever. But yeah, it was good on the second watch. It was
Jordan,
nice.
it's an interesting question. Yeah.
Well, but is everybody on the same page? Like, we all believe that it's just like he's one person, right? Or do we believe that he's two separate people?
Oh no, it's definitely two different people.
You can't believe that it's two different people. I mean, unless you want to go against what the
Well, I did on the first viewing because I'm not very smart.
I know. I'm just saying because the direct, like Denis Villeneuve said that it's one person.
Well, no, he said he leaves it dubious.
Well, I'm assuming there's a reliable narrator and there are two Jake Gyllenhaals because Jake Gyllenhaal is looking
gosh.
at Jake Gyllenhaal. I didn't know that they had a Lindsay Lohan situation, Parent Trap. I was like, I didn't know Jake Gyllenhaal had a twin. It was so nice of him to show up to do this movie, It's
well,
like,
and Cameron, but he remember the whole blueberry thing.
Einstein.
He's like, he doesn't like blueberries. The other one
Exactly.
does. So I'm
Okay.
saying there's little things.
No, I know, but then she's like, you should give up that acting career like that. And
That was the
fantasy.
big. That was the
and
big.
then
yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah, they're the same person.
that was a big one.
But yeah, so like, but yeah, on the
It wasn't the scars that are on their body, and anyway.
See, like, I agree and disagree with Jordan. I think it's not necessarily better on the first watch because I just think the first watch is like a beautiful mind where I was like, holy shit, this is a masterpiece. Second watch, I was able to appreciate it more because of all of the little pieces. And so, like, I definitely appreciate it as a film more, but, like, my overall experience wasn't as good the first time.
And Ty, I have to just point this out. You were like, oh, I don't have enough time to watch a third movie. And then you're like, oh, but I watched Ghoulies, stupidest movie ever. And I watched all these other movies. I'm like,
Yeah.
you had enough time to watch those dumb movies?
Like I said, if I could start pushing more movies that I would want to watch in the moment, I'm fine with that. But if we want to do like the whole director's thing, I'm like, we'll do two at a
Okay.
time. But yeah, that is a valid criticism because I still watched. I
You watched a ton of
consumed
movies.
stuff.
At the very
I
end, you
watched
talked about
tons.
all these movies.
I'm just not always in the mood to watch, what's on the
Yeah,
ballot.
so watching the first time, I watched it with Cameron. We were both so confused, and I was just like, what's the point of this? And so,
That video essay saved our brains that night.
because we were like so confused, and I was like, that wasn't worth it. And then watching the video, it's like, oh, okay, it's like the movie's much deeper than it comes off as, at least in the first watch. And so, yeah, rewatching it again was really beneficial, and like seeing all the
all the scenes are purposeful. Like,
yeah.
all the dialogue.
Even the dialogue, Grant, can you believe that?
And I'll get into it more, but I love just like
Grant wanted to skip the exposition, you know.
Yeah. Well, I just love the way that everything is structured, like what happens right away, because like I love how the crash scene happens just as he decides to stay with his wife.
Yeah.
It's like that part of himself is dying. Things like that. It's just like there's so many things watching a second time that I
Well,
saw.
and then you can just see, and when he finds that key, you can just see it in his face. Like, he just changes. He's like, I'm gonna go out, and you're just like, oh no.
Right? I know. You're like,
and-
you just saved yourself, and now you're falling again.
Nothing like watching a high heel squish a tarantula, am I right, boys?
And yeah, squishing the wife, like the idea of the wife kind of curling up into the corner of the room, the spider kind of like repulsed, just hiding, sees the true nature of her husband.
Yeah. And again, that's why I like all the film essays, because again, you talk about fears. Most people fear arachnids, and his fear is represented in all the female characters. You see a giant spider after he talks to his mother. His mother tries to convince him that he likes blueberries, but he's trying to shed his old personality. He's trying to be someone new, and his mother won't let him forget. He's like, well, you've had troubles being faithful in the past, you know, and she like reminds him, and I'm like, again, that's why, again, this movie's pretty personal just because of my own personal upbringing and my own life and my own family. So this movie's like, it really hits close to home, and it's really hard to watch. So for those reasons, that this movie, like, it's pretty powerful, and that's pretty impressive to Denis Villeneuve's credit, is having a movie that so impacted me that I'm like, I never need to see it again. I'll never watch The Road again.
It's like I can't.
That movie impacted me
It's
pretty
like I can
heavily.
only imagine for Dad. Dad he struggled watching that because it reminded him too much of his upbringing.
Wait, Dad watched this movie Enemy with you?
I can only imagine.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You half heard
watching
what I said.
Enemy with my parents.
Half heard what I said. It was close, Ty.
Surrounded by the... Sorry, okay, I'm done. Just love that song.
Man, you're definitely not put it to shame at all by singing "Surrounded by Your."
No, see, and that's actually one interesting thing I wanted to say is members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we like have a big taboo about and in films, but we're okay with violence and language.
We believe in making babies.
But then again, I'm like, actually, we don't. We're taught to abhor violence, and we're not to listen to things that have profanity and curse words. So I'm like, I'm not as good at that. And I think the only reason is just because my propensity of my difficult dealings with, I think is much more addictive and much easier to be caught up in than getting so angry and furious that I go out and take a katana sword to my neighbor's head and lop it off his shoulders. So like, it's just not as likely. Super dark times, yeah. Just fall on the sword, you know. It's as simple as that. So I think that's probably where a lot of that stuff comes from, because it's like, well, just stay away from and any form of which means people, whether they're satanic or it's just a movie about infidelity, just stay away from, right? And it's like, well, what is? I don't know. I honestly, I know I want to say it's just like keep your body sacred because we know our bodies are sacred. Keep all out of films because it doesn't belong.
I know, it's crazy. And like, where do they cover like everything except their eyes? The girls, like, it's crazy. In some countries, like, girls can't show any skin at all.
Yeah, the ankles.
That's crazy.
The ankles. Check out those ankles.
No, there's a Key and Peele's, I think, skit about that.
Well, they get a pass because so they can joke about anything they want to. I'm just very interested in that discussion. Like, do you guys feel?
I just casually just threw that comment out there.
They can get away with it.
You can do whatever you want if you're so except. So I would.
Thank goodness for editing. Holy shiz, bro.
No, don't you dare take this out. I'm very serious.
I edited out your last joke.
What? You edited out my joke?
Yes.
What joke
My
was
wife
it?
begged me to edit out.
What was my joke?
Do you really want me to say it so I have to edit it out again on this pod?
Yeah. Tell me.
You said that...
Oh, I stand by that. Why did you take that joke out? That was a great joke.
God.
You took all my
you
best
were
jokes.
You were like you were pleading people to cancel you. You're like, oh yeah, I want to say the most nasty things on this pod.
You guys did an episode about laughing about the idea that someone was and being is really funny. Anyway, whatever. I guess we're all a little too sensitive these days. But I am curious, do you guys think about this movie? Like,
So we're going to go to two favorite things, or are we just going to what? We're just going to forget the
well,
podcast format?
Well,
I don't know.
Ty didn't watch the movie, so he's just coming up with his own topics.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
happening?
I don't know what to say. My two favorite things. But I don't have too many favorite things. So I wanted to ask the question. I was just like, does this movie?
Yeah, we can do that
Like,
after
are you
we
guys
do our
going to
two
recommend
favorite
it at the end of the day? Yeah. Are you guys going to
of course
recommend
not.
it?
On VidAngel.
On VidAngel, yes,
100% on
VidAngel.
I still don't even recommend it there, though. Does that make sense?
You haven't seen on
I was
VidAngel,
just
so you
curious
have no
you
idea
guys-
what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I have
Yeah,
to say
so I've
that.
seen the movie, and I don't
But you
recommend
haven't
Well,
seen
it
it on
because-
or ever
VidAngel.
watch it
It's
again.
just
You
like
keep
anyone who
thinking
says,
that there's
"I would
no
never watch it."
content beyond.
I would never watch Wolf of Wall Street, and I say, watch it on VidAngel. And they're
That's
like,
not true,
"Oh, then
because
there's a
we're still
3-minute
discussing
video."
it.
And I say, you've never seen it on VidAngel because you clearly have no idea what you're talking about.
It's easy to get caught up when those images are so ingrained in your brain. It's
yes, but you'd be surprised how it probably in total tops is about 10 minutes of screen time.
maybe less, but
Yeah,
So that's another question I want to pose
it's an
to
hour
you.
and a half movie, so you got.
it's got an hour and 20 minutes of film.
Again, I just wanted to ask you, how much does that weigh in? Obviously, if the movie was all throughout, it wouldn't feel comfortable. This movie doesn't necessarily feel. It feels very sad and depressing.
Grant,
so.
I don't know about you, but first time I watched it, I felt not dirty at all. I felt zero. I was just confused. I did not feel dirty at all about this is super.
Well, you watched it clean.
Exactly,
yeah,
that's what we're
scrubbed.
saying.
Right.
And I saw unedited the first time, and I was still confused, so I still felt the same feelings. But I also felt dirty.
I'm not necessarily even talking about the not understanding this plot and structure.
Can we just go into our two favorite things, and then we can go into these weird questions?
Sure. It's a weird questions. Just out of there. Just completely out of left field. What are your two favorite things, Cam?
Honestly, I think the music in this movie is so fetching perfect for the movie. You guys talk about Arrival
It's so
and how
dark.
the music sets the tone. Holy shiz, dude! The music in this
Talk about
thing
that color
makes
palette, too.
Yeah,
It's
it makes
all
me
yellow.
so uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's and you see his apartment and just everything, just the mood, it shows how his cheating side is just so erratic and so out of control and unorganized, and you could see how he's never prepared. He's always messy, and so you see how he's messy in that side, that side of him. That Jake Gyllenhaal is not an organized person, because you can't be organized doing bad things, in my opinion. At least not for long. Otherwise, karma will catch up to you. But yeah, so I thought that the music just set the tone so perfectly. And then honestly, my second favorite thing is I just love how different this movie is on the second viewing. Because a lot of movies, even knowing the twist, you can pick up on clues. But this movie is a whole different movie, because then you're appreciating and seeing at first I was wow, you're disgusting. But on this, I honestly felt bad for Jake Gyllenhaal. I just felt bad. I'm just because you see that he's unfulfilled. And you see he's caught in that vice, and in that vice of cheating on his wife, and how he's unsatisfied, but he has those moments of clarity where he's I'm so sorry, honey. And then she's I want you to stay. I want this version to stay. And you see how that's the first time he's felt at peace, and how the other side of him dies. But then all it takes is the slightest thing to bring back that addiction, and that temptation to cheat on his wife. And I just think it's so it's so beautiful. It was so sad to see how easily it reminds me of what's his name, David, and Bathsheba.
I'm surprised to hear you say, that you feel bad for Gyllenhaal. I don't feel bad for him.
Because Ty doesn't believe in repentance. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
That's right. That's right.
Because I honestly just thought it was so cool, because it reminds me.
I don't think we see any remorse. Do we see any remorse in this movie?
Yeah,
Yes.
he starts crying with his wife. And he says,
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
because he's caught in the moment, right? He's putting
She
on a
didn't
show.
catch
He was
him.
an
No,
actor.
he left her. He left his old life. He tried to change.
And then he cried.
I know,
and
but
then
he was an actor for a time. I'm just saying. I think they were crocodile tears. I don't buy it. In the
Okay.
moment where she's I want you to stay, and he's oh, I'm so sorry.
think he
and
faked
then
that?
the moment he sees the key, he's yeah, I'm back, baby. Let's hit up the clubs. Let's go.
No, see, I think that was totally. See, I thought it was super similar to.
You thought it was genuine?
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought he repented, and then he fell back into the ways, because that just lured him in, because it was hard.
Yeah, it was when he found the
goes up
key,
and
that
down,
addiction came back to him.
drew him back in. And so that's why I just thought it was super cool, just on the second viewing, and just a completely different perspective, where at first I was man, this guy's a sicko, to where I was oh my gosh, now that I understand his situation, it's he's at a constant battle with himself, and he's trying to fight against Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's saying you F my wife, and so he's just, I think I take that as him fighting with himself of you're cheating on our wife. And I think it's borderline schizophrenic.
Ty, and that quote is from Raging Bull, by the way. Because I said it was from the scene from Taxi Driver, but he was just saying,
Right.
"You talking to me? You have my wife." And
Right.
they say
They
the
did
same
both.
thing in Dave
Made
Made
a
a
Maze.
Maze.
Yeah.
You have my wife?
I quoted that earlier in the movie from this, but I think that's great. Again, I'm all for team repentance and atonement and redemption.
But he just doesn't believe in it. I got you.
Oh my gosh, you two, stop. Grant, go.
I know. I think you're projecting a little too much, Jordan. I love you, and I love all of you guys
Ty
for
doesn't
watching this
forgive.
movie. I forgive you guys.
And he won't forget.
No, like I said, I'm still team repentance in the end. I just didn't buy his repentance. And again, just like so quickly to go, as soon as he sees the key, it wasn't even like a second thought. He's like, I'm going out tonight. As soon as he found the key, like that wasn't even like a moment where he was conflicted. He found the key. He's like, oh good, I found the key. Like, I'm going out tonight. Anyway.
I still believe him.
I have different thoughts.
You
but
believe
it's
what?
okay.
You believe that he refuses to get rid of his old ways. I
Well,
feel
No,
like.
yeah,
Anyway.
he's trying. It's not.
The problem
it's
is-
not perfect.
Is he trying?
Yes.
No.
You see the
No.
constant battle throughout the movie of him
Well,
trying
and he
to
blew
give
up
it
the car. He crashed the car. He ended that relationship with what's her face.
Yeah.
And on the radio, it's like a couple crashed, but he didn't find out if they survived. And it turns out, as soon as he sees the key, the guy's alive and well out of the hospital. So his alter ego is back, so he can go back to the club.
So he tried. It's not like you're.
Like your
I'm
future decisions doesn't negate all the things that you do before to try and like become a better person. That's
I feel like
my...
I'd be terrified of letting you guys run the prisons. You'd be like, let him all back out on the street. they're trying their darndest. He'll promise not to rape again. He promises not to do that. Jeez. And I'm like, no, throw away the key. That's just me. I don't know. Like, that sounds hard.
Ty's like, I used to give him the chair. Give him all the chair.
Give him all the
Give me
chair.
the chair. I'll pull the lever myself. Rolling up my
Yeah, Ty,
sleeves.
just watch Just Mercy. Watch Just Mercy, Ty.
No, Ty's that officer from the Green Mile who doesn't put the water in the guy's head. Ty's like,
That's
oh
right.
yeah.
Like, I would watch him suffer.
Watch him fry as his face blows up into flames.
They're like, you didn't make sure to give him the painkiller. I'm like, oops. Oh yeah, like, does it hurt? What were you saying, Grant? You want to say what it was like watching the first time and rewatching it for the pod, or no? We're doing two
Whoa.
favorite things.
Way past that.
What the fudge?
Two favorite things.
My
Did I mention I didn't rewatch it for the pod?
well, no, you didn't. Please explain again. So part of my first favorite thing is that I love Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. Does such a good job of showing two completely different people.
I know, it was
And-
almost as good as Nick Cage from Adaptation.
And so, like, and for some reason, it's so funny to me when the insecure teacher goes and buys, like, these girl sunglasses.
He's the funniest fish ever with the freaking sparkles on the sides.
Giant Gucci.
Yeah, and he's
whatever
like trying to act like all like sneaky and stuff, and he's like so paranoid. Like in the car, he just like turns
Oh my
around
gosh,
really quick. He's just like,
his trying to run into the building is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, and then he like misses. He's like, oh dang it, and then he has to wait. And so yeah, I just love the performance of the teacher, just how insecure he is, and then just the actor, the confidence that he has. And like how he kind of pushes around this weaker side of himself.
It's almost like he's a schizophrenic. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Or is
That's
that what
I
it's
thought.
called?
I thought it was schizophrenia.
Split personality.
Split personality,
is
sorry.
Right.
Multiple personality
Yeah.
disorder.
Yeah, so I love that. Just the performance was really, really good by him.
Yeah, dang right, because he's the best actor in the world, baby.
Yeah.
Because it was seriously like Fight Club. Like, he created this alternate person who had everything he wanted to be.
Except Fight Club had to have two different actors. Jake Gyllenhaal could do it all by himself. Brad Pitt needs help.
No, I think it's because the director's like, okay, I'm going to use another actor. And he's like, no, I'm going to use myself.
And Danny's like,
His
"Oh,
ego's
you're
just
hard
too
to
big
deal
for the
with."
screen.
That's funny. And then my second favorite thing is the camera work. I love, because it was cool rewatching it the second time, how I noticed, so when it first shows the actor with the wife, it shows and implies that he's cheating on her because she's like questioning where he's been or who was calling him. And
Yeah, she asked, like, who was that on the phone?
Right.
Again?
and it's super interesting because your first thought is, oh, this is his girlfriend. And then, like, after they do the whole conversation, he leaves, and then it pans back to her, and it shows that she's pregnant. And then you just feel this weight of, like, oh my gosh, like, he's cheating on this girl who's pregnant. And then later it shows, like, she has her hand like this, and it shows a wedding ring. And so it just, like, keeps adding these things to the weight of, like, what he's doing to this girl who you find out is his
Right.
wife. And so just great camera work with that. And then, and I love, too, how, like,
Oh, three things?
she calls him and he doesn't answer because she goes and sees the teacher version, and then he walks away.
She
She's
goes
calling
to see him. She's upset. Yeah.
As soon as
Gives
he
him a
gets
call,
walks
out of
out
frame.
then he answers the phone. It's super
I never
interesting.
forgot that. It's crazy visual. And that's the ambiguity where he allows it to be like, I mean, you could technically interpret it as two people, but obviously anyone that's watching it and understands the meaning of this movie can tell, obviously this is an alter ego that
I love that you keep saying it's so obvious. It's obvious. It's like It Comes at Night. If you think any other way, it's dumb.
To be fair, I actually understood the dual personality thing.
I did not.
I didn't understand the spider.
I was lost as shit.
But to be fair, it's not like I understood that this had to be like his alter. I just understood it like, oh, because when he gets out of frame and then she calls and she's heartbroken, I'm like, oh, it's the same guy. She's devastated because he's living a lie, like right in front of her, and he's like become this alternate person, and he has to like let that other person die, and then
I was not that smart the first time watching. I was just like, now she can't confirm that it was him or not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
that's what I thought
Can't
too.
confirm. Interesting. But in the end, that told her everything she did because she still knows her husband. It's not like she believes there's this doppelganger. Like, mind you, she freaks out at the very beginning, and it has nothing to do with the fact that there's this other doppelganger, right? Like, she's freaking out when he's like, I found this other actor that looks like me, and she's asking all these very probing questions.
Well, but their question
and
is
has
like,
nothing-
who are you talking to? Because she thinks he's cheating, So
Right. But again, it's still that personality that he is, the other side of him that is unfaithful to his wife, that is the type that attends clubs.
Oh,
and
well,
things
it was so obvious to you, but...
I know. Like I said, but no, the spiders...
They're just the
guys,
smarter
this
one.
is the
I'm dumb as
biggest
shiz.
what the fudge moment at the end of a movie than any other movie I've ever seen. This movie's crazy.
Jeez, Ty is on one tonight.
I know. He's just mad because he didn't do a movie he wanted to do. Oh, sorry. Did I tell you hear that?
Split personality, split.
No, you were muted.
I'm muted?
No, he's
No,
not.
I can
No,
hear
you
him.
were.
No, he's
My
not.
friend doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He never was muted.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Grant's going crazy.
I know what I'm talking about.
Great White Buffalo. Great White Buffalo.
Great White Buffalo.
What? What's that from?
It's Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, yeah.
My wife loves that movie, by the way. That was funny.
But she doesn't like my jokes. What's wrong with your wife? Smack her around for me, would you? Be like,
jeez.
Ty's a funny man.
Oh, yeah,
You don't
and she said-
understand his humor. Of course I'm... Oh, my gosh. Well, I hope I've upset your wife deeply. That is the intent. I want to offend all women.
She's not. No, she's not. She's just...
Because if there's a woman that isn't offended, I'm not doing my job right. That's the point of a podcast hosted by all men. Cameron, who's saying their two favorite things now? I got lost.
Me.
Grant, keep going.
So I love all the hints.
Grant's on this, like,
I feel like
board.
Grant's been going through this whole movie. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you've already gone through
Grant's
everything
already
you
done 3, and this is.
I'm okay. I'm enjoying it, Grant. Keep going. I want to hear more.
Well, because I love
I don't want to
all-
hear Ty, because Titus is like, he's like, I didn't see the movie, so I'm trying to think of ideas to things to talk about.
Just shush, Ty.
Just
Ty, just
stop
shush.
talking, stop
I'm not
talking.
gonna say
Okay,
anything.
Grant, keep going. Talk about the actual movie.
So I love all the hints that they show. Watching it the second time, I picked up on. It's really good how he does it. How he makes you like gives you hints like, oh, maybe it is the same person. But then he'll like throw out something, and then you're like, wait, I just like that leaves the whole thing open to question again. Because like he tells the mom, I don't like blueberries, and she's like, of course you do. And then she's like, you should quit that fantasy of being a third level movie actor. And it was interesting too, like noticing how when he goes to the office and he like sneaks in, and then the security guard like talks to him, like no one else was in the office. So you kind of would expect the building would probably be closed. So I wonder if like that even happened. Like it's just like an interesting thing that like no one else was around, no one else knew him except that guard. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Well, just real quick, one thing I do remember was the 6-month time difference. His wife is 6 months pregnant, and he had given up that actor dream 6 months ago. The mom specifically mentions, or the security guard mentions, because she said you gave up on that dream to be an actor
Says you haven't
in the
been
past.
here
And he
for
says,
6
yeah, you
months.
haven't been around for 6 months, which is literally the amount of time that
Or
it's...
more. That's what he does. He does like
Yeah.
super unconfidently. He's like, or more.
Yeah.
And you're like,
He's
Right.
so awkward in that. He's like,
so
Yeah, the
unsmooth.
weird-
It hurts
he's like,
me.
he gives him the letter. He's like, oh, that looks like it's it. That's definitely it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You're like, what?
Hurts my soul.
But yeah, and then like other things that I saw, because when like the teacher goes in with the wife into bed, she's like, did you have a good day at school? And he's like, what? And she's like, never mind.
Yeah.
Dude, that's such
And
a
I was
mind blowing
like,
line. She's
that
like,
was
never
great.
mind.
Little-
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because in the beginning of the movie, like he pulls up the picture of the actor on the internet, and then he holds up this ripped photo, and then you find out later that he looks at the picture framed on the wall in the other guy's house of that same picture, but it's not ripped, which was really interesting.
What does it all mean?
Can't wait. Just real quick.
It's very interesting, but I have no answer for it.
Real quick.
I thought that was very interesting.
Well, it was
Something
ripped
super-
before, and then like they finally fused it back together, you know, because he's back home.
It's like Parent Trap when they have both of their parents and they just hold it up the photo. Dennis Quaid and whatever her face is.
And something that's also super interesting is like the cast of the movie had to sign a confidentiality agreement that didn't allow them to speak or explain the movie to the press about the meaning of the spiders in the movie.
Which elevates it, I think, personally.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get people like fetching Michael Caine saying, "Oh yeah, the final scene it's definitely real," or "It's definitely because he said every single scene I'm in is reality." I'm like, fudge!
Or Harrison Ford saying, "No, I'm not a robot." In Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Or the director saying he is.
But then the writer, the writer was saying that he was a replicant. Yeah, I love that there's a dispute about that. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any nitpicks?
I mean, besides there being too much.
I think.
What do you mean there's too much? It's just the right amount, according to Cameron. 10 minutes? Yeah. I'm teasing you. No, actually, I figured out why. I'm only going to say one thing about my nitpick. And I figured it out what it is. In the end, I was upset because I heard what you said, Cameron, about being... I initially, when I watched it, I'm like, yeah, poor Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a static character. He doesn't change. He keeps falling for the same mistakes. But in the end, like, I can't help but feel like Denis Villeneuve... Like, again, we all joked about me being a... I watched this movie, and I'm like, Jake Gyllenhaal, we only see women through the eyes of Jake Gyllenhaal, and they're all just spiders trying to ensnare men so they can stay with them. And I'm like, women are just so much better and more complex than that. And I get that we're seeing it from his perspective, and I guess the director isn't necessarily saying that's a good thing. It's just like there's no credit given to these actresses because, like you said, my heart breaks for them. And at the end, they're just reduced to being something that Jake Gyllenhaal despises. And he's not even terrified of this giant effing tarantula in his house. But it's just... it's how he sees her, and that's just so despicable to me, right? Like, he sees her as another burden.
Oh, yeah, he's not a good character.
I think also something something that's super cool, and I think the size of the spiders shows the weight and the influence that spider has in his life, like, or the power that person has in his life. For example, like you talked about with the mom, she's the largest spider of all because she's like the most connected to him, and then his wife is the second largest spider in the movie, and then you see how the smallest spiders when he goes to like the club or whatever, because it has the least amount of attachment, so the least amount of like chance to hurt him if he were to just do something bad to it, because then it's like, oh, I'll just never see that person again. But it's like you see the wife, it's like if he were to ever like leave her or something like that, it would cause a lot of damage, and that which means it's a giant spider that can cause a lot of damage on him, just like his mother is the most connected to him and the most crucial, and so she's the largest one and the biggest potential to hurt and kill him. And I came up with that with my own brain. Yeah. I can't believe I just did that. That's the smartest thing I've ever said in my life. Anyway, continue.
You compared Denis's work or Denis' work to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining and The Rival. I actually think this one reminds me a lot of Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, which is a movie I had to watch multiple times to get through because it's a very...
Or Eyes Wide Butt? Eyes Wide Butt? That's
He's referring to me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Thank you, Ty.
All the fake movie titles
Eyes
of movies
Wide
that he made.
But
I can't. There were so many movie titles I couldn't remember them all. All I remember is Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
And some of them weren't all that good.
But yeah, like Jordan, like you're talking about, just the framing and the positioning of just the film, and just gives it a really eerie tone.
Dennis's worlds are so much fun. Like I keep using the word fun, and I know thinks it's ridiculous, but
it's so beautiful.
It is ridiculous. Or it's like I'd love to visit prisoners.
No, not. I wouldn't want to live in those.
I want to see more.
I do want to see more. Like it's no, there are universes in which like I love the tone. I love the, like Cameron said, the wide shots feeling like this movie. It's a sickness.
And Jordan, like you're saying, in all of his movies, it's like it's a great movie when you wish there was like we talked about, you wish there was a sequel, but you don't want a sequel, you know? It's like, I wish there was a sequel so I could see more, but I don't want... A movie that leaves you wanting more,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Prisoners, when he's whistling, that's a good movie ending.
You want to see the sequel, but you don't because you know it would ruin it.
Even though most people didn't like Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, the ending leaves you wanting more, and it's
same thing with Sicario. I thought it was a perfect ending, and then they decided to make a sequel, and the sequel was...
Of course it was. Denis Villeneuve wasn't attached to that, was he?
No, he was not.
Of course he wasn't. He's like, why are you making sequel to my film? It's my best.
I mean, he is
impression.
gonna be
In his Russian accent, yes. Vladimir, why do you want to do this?
Why are you doing a sequel to my film, comrade? Russian accents annoy the heck out of me. Next to people acting crazy in movies. So cringeworthy. Looking at you, Black Widow.
Ty has a problem with foreign films, though, because he doesn't want to review any of his foreign ones.
Yes, Denis Villeneuve is a pervert. I just want to have it open and stated on the podcast. He's a Frenchman.
This
He's
is coming from a
French.
man
It's
with a
okay.
pedo stash. Just kidding.
Cameron,
I can
they
say that
didn't
because-
cry until I left them.
This is coming from me, who also has currently a pedo stash.
Ultimately, did you guys feel that way? Like that? Does this movie portray like women? I don't know. Like
No, I think it just
nothing
shows
to do with women, but yeah.
I think kind of like what I was just talking about with like it just shows his fear of the damage that he could do to people by like being unfaithful.
Yeah, you know what, Ty? It should have been like that. They should have had Captain Marvel bust in and then do the same thing from Rick and Morty, where she's shooting rainbows out of her. Like, do you remember that?
What in the actual fudge?
Remember, he's like, "I am a woman. I am strong. I am powerful." You don't remember that from Rick and Morty?
Are you talking about Morty's girlfriend?
No, there's an episode
I thought
where
it was-
they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do an all-female empowerment episode where there's no males, no nothing," and it's just like, and Beth and Summer come out and they're like, "I am a woman. I am strong," and then they're like, "I will kill these crabs with my woman powers."
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Now I'm starting to remember. That needed a little context. Shooting rainbows out of their. All right, so guys, let's get into last minute things. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to harp
What
on it.
we've seen lately.
It's a really good discussion. I'm glad we talked about it. And
Yeah, we can tell with all your excitement.
no, like I said, see,
I'm joking, Ty. I'm
it's
just
like
joking.
you're saying I can't appreciate.
Oh my
it.
God.
Yeah,
Okay,
you mess
we
with
don't
us all the
even know.
time, and then we mess with you, and you're like, wait a minute, guys, stop attacking me.
Wait a second. Why am I on the
Also,
chopping block? I think
something-
what I said was defensible.
Shush.
It's funny because you just
Something-
attack us all the
something
time,
I-
so it's funny.
Something I
It's just a
forgot to
joke.
say on Arrival is, did you know Denis Villeneuve actually created a workable language of the circle things for the entire film?
Oh, that's
Like,
dope.
Yeah, for the.
What does
for
that
the
even
movie.
mean? Workable language.
It's kind of
like
like
that-
Star Trek when they created, the whole.
Yeah, same with Lord of the Rings. Like you could actually speak Elvish, like they
Elvish
did in
language.
17
Yeah.
again.
So you can actually speak like Foghorn, Cameron? Let's hear it. I tried my best. I can't do it. Let's hear it, Jordan.
Ty,
What's
the
your rival
voices
Foghorn?
and the writing aren't interconnected. Okay.
Yeah, Ty, didn't you know
Yeah, it's
that?
like Chinese. It's like Chinese, okay?
culture.
Want to hear my Chinese impression? I think Jordan's wife is dying to hear my Chinese impression.
Yeah. See how many more people you can offend, Ty.
Oh, we saved the world. Yes, we did.
The shitty walk and the shitty chicken.
It's funny because it's racist.
I hate Mongolians.
I love Mongolian.
Would you guys recommend Enemy?
Yes, 100%.
On VidAngel.
Yeah, VidAngel, yes.
Listen to our discussion. If you like cheating men, if you like movies with crazy what the fudge movie endings,
Yeah,
and you
this
like
definitely
to
was
be
a what the fudge am I
confused,
watching?
yeah. This is that movie.
It's better on a rewatch if you like to rewatch movies and analyze
I
them.
think the best thing to do is just go to, was it Wisecrack that did a version of this? There's some really good one, like Film Crew or something Film Joy or something like that. One of them did a review about it. And just look up like the ending.
Yeah, it's a 24-minute video. It's 9.9 million views.
Yeah,
Or-
it's well because everyone that saw Enemy had to go watch it, and then they're like, oh, now I appreciate the Enemy.
Yeah,
Or, well,
It's
if you
fun
watch
to
the
watch,
behind
like-
the scenes with the director, it's actually also really good with Denny because he talks
Denny.
about the option. I mean,
Denny.
and
And every time you say Denny, I love you, Denny.
I love you, Denny. I loved both sides of the coin. It's like, oh, is it?
I'm in love with Lisa. I love you, Denny.
Okay, let's talk about what we've seen lately and what we're looking forward to. Grant, you want to start?
Yeah, let's see.
Same movies as Elise, Time Traveler's Wife. We rewatched Dune a second time.
Wait, and Time Travel's
Grant,
Wife,
you
did
were
it just
whipped.
add to your top 10 list of all time?
Wait, what?
Was it
Did
right
it
next
bump
to
off
Godzilla?
Gay!
Never. Oh.
Dude, all the scenes where the adult man appears in front of his adolescent wife from the future.
Hey, but his wife is Rachel McAdams, so it's
All
all okay.
I'm saying is that women watching this movie now be like, okay, if some naked man appears to you pretending to be your future husband, don't believe him.
And if he disappears,
That's all
he's
I'm saying.
magic.
gosh. Then you find out that you're freaking hitting on your kids. My gosh. No thanks.
Your own personal.
Ty's Maddie's.
Yeah, dude. I'm a wife. What are you guys talking
That's
about?
what you said.
That's what you said, Ty. We're using your own words
You
against
said
you.
when you find out you're hitting on your younger self.
What?
Anyways,
Anyways,
And-
Grant.
well,
I didn't get that.
I'm nervous to be excited for the Book of Boba Fett. I watched the
Oh,
trailer.
I saw that
don't.
But
trailer.
wait, it's a movie though.
Don't
Why
be
do they call it
happy.
the Book of Boba Fett?
Don't
I hope
be-
it's as good as Mandalorian.
Was it for alliteration's sake?
Do you-
Why do they call it the Book
Jon
of Boba
Favreau's going to be attached to it, so
And
attached.
he's an amazing
Producer,
he does
probably.
great stuff. But my worry is they have that
there's no Baby Yoda
the
though.
sniper girl from Mandalorian. I
Yep, there's a woman in it,
did
it's
not
gonna
like
ruin
her
it.
performance.
Yeah,
It's
she wasn't
very
great.
very fake.
Very
So
wooden.
Which one? Is that Gina Carano or the other girl?
I don't know. I don't know her name.
The big beefy girl that could kick Mandalorian's
No, remember
not the
Ty?
fighter.
Disney won't hire her anymore.
Yeah,
remember?
she's gone
She's
now.
conservative.
She did. She was very anti-Semitic by comparing, the criticisms from people's neighbors turning on their neighbors to people in the Holocaust. In her defense, I don't think she was saying that they are doing it. It's just saying that
We
was
don't
one
care.
thing that led to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
tell you right
So I'm just saying in her defense, but it's funny because now
So
she
I'm
doesn't
just-
get work, and it's like okay,
I'm really
whatever.
worried because I love the actor for Boba Fett. Like he's so cool and I'm sure they'll have really good action scenes in it. But I'm just worried that it's gonna be not great. But also looking forward to is Venom worth watching? I don't know if I should watch it.
Not
And
good.
Carnage. I don't know. Cameron loved it.
Oh really?
Venom Carnage, absolutely not.
Oh, that's
It's just
unfortunate.
garbage.
That sucks. I saw the trailer for Eternals. It has Rob from
Okay,
Game of Thrones.
so a guy
but-
I work with, Grant, he's like, my son just said it was his favorite Marvel movie, and I'm like, okay.
That poor
and-
kid hasn't seen any other Marvel movies to date. He probably only been forced to watch Wonder Woman
Well,
1984.
and Ty,
And
guess
Black
what?
Widow.
Batman vs Superman.
No,
and
guess
Black
guess
Widow.
what
Those are
his
probably the
dad's
only
favorite
movies
movie
he's allowed to
is? Avatar.
Oh boy.
watch. Like of all time.
Yep.
Jeez.
Does he just go
That's
by
a movie
top
I have
grossing
not
film of
seen
all
since the
time?
theaters. Yeah, I think I saw it once after theater, maybe like on a bus or something.
Still my favorite story
That looks
ever.
like a good movie. Yeah, on a plane maybe.
My favorite movie, my favorite experience ever was watching that with Ty, and I fell asleep. I took a 2-hour nap, and I woke up, and the movie was still like in the third act. I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" I was like, "This movie's still going." And you're like, "Yeah, it's still got an hour left." I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Which movie was that?
Avatar.
Avatar. Yeah.
I don't remember watching that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was in the
that's
Wisconsin house.
pretty much it for me. And the Batman, so excited for that.
Yes.
The trailer
That can't come soon enough.
I know.
Is there anything else coming out in November? I thought there was a lot of movies coming out this month.
Well, guess what? Just dropped its first episode, Ty. That I'm looking forward to.
Better Call Saul?
Dexter, the new season, the new blood.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if it'll still have that camp to it that I liked so much.
Yeah,
'cause
that's a good point.
if they go full blown like Breaking Bad and it's like really dark, I don't know if I can do another one of those. Not saying that I'm morally better for not watching Breaking Bad. or
No, but
like
I
that.
do agree. The
Or Game of
campiness
Thrones.
of it, like the funny side,
It helped.
Yeah.
It helps. The whole,
'cause
episodic.
It's
but,
very
like,
dark, and so
yeah. Surprisingly not a dark show about a serial killer who kills other serial killers.
yeah, there's a lot of humor to it.
It's what you needs.
Yeah, if they don't have
That's a
that
little more
cop that's
camp.
like, surprise, mother effer.
Yeah, I haven't watched much lately. Just I rewatched About Time for about the 100th time with my girlfriend, and then I also watched some of the new Brooklyn Nine-Nine episodes. First episode was kind of but then yeah, like after they got over the
Wait,
all
Cameron,
the
you didn't
COVID-
like all the political messaging from your comedy shows? I thought
Yeah.
you'd really like that, you
Yeah,
know,
it
when they
was-
spoon fed you, yum, yum, yum.
Oh, they did that in Superstore. I just skipped over that episode.
Yeah, and I didn't laugh out loud once, and then I got to episode 2, and I was just crying out loud when freaking Jake and they like take Holt to the the getaway or whatever, like the bird sounds. It's like, of course I knew it wasn't him. It's like that's the sound of a cuckoo or whatever, like the bird.
A cockaboo.
The
Yeah.
cuckaboo.
But yeah,
Careful there. It looked like you were just about to say, somebody get this away from me.
What's that mean?
I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
racist towards people.
Did you ever watch White Chicks? My favorite line from Terry Crews when he's laying on the ground, he's like, you mean to tell me you're not a woman? Yes. And he goes, white? This is Terry Crews' issue with the white chicks is not, he knew that they were men underneath, but they didn't know that they were white. He goes, somebody get this away from me. Made me laugh so hard when he says it. I guess if I'm white, I probably can't say the word, but
That's
it
okay,
makes
I'll
me
like
laugh
it.
every time he says it. But it makes me laugh.
But
good
yeah, but yeah, like
So
I mean,
funny.
looking forward to the pretty much most of the same stuff. Nothing super in particular like that's upcoming. I don't know how I feel about the new what do you call it, Matrix. I see like the trailer for every time I go to the theaters, and I'm just like,
I give it a 50-50. I'll give them the same chance that I did when I saw Jupiter Ascending. It could be the next Star Wars. It could be a total waste of money. It could be another Eddie Redmayne performance. I create life and I destroy it.
I did see a trailer for it was some movie with what's his face? Who's the Jared Leto?
When he's like balding on the top and he's got the
Morbius.
hair slicked over.
Yeah,
Wait,
And he's
what?
with Lady
the
Gaga.
vampire. What?
No, the
Oh,
vampire.
Morbius. There's another movie coming out with Jared Leto. And he's
What
like
the
balding.
Guys, I actually think it might be pronounced Jared Leto, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's
No way.
pretty sure.
Are you
it's
sure?
Leto.
I think it is Jared Leto. I heard someone say Leto.
Yeah, maybe.
I heard someone, and then I was like, that is so Jared Leto or Leto to be like.
Yeah, Jared
actually,
Leto.
the real pronunciation is Jared Leto.
After 900 years of everyone pronouncing it Leto.
I mean, it's the same with Alex changing her baby's name. Like, oh, it's Ava. Not anymore.
It's Rose.
You gotta change the name.
Yeah, what the fudge?
Sorry, Alex. I mean, I didn't even know your kid's name before it, and now I'm like, okay.
Apparently, to Google, it says it's Jared Leto.
Pronounced
Leto.
Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto.
Yeah, and
So
10,
we've been saying
in 10 years
Leto,
he'll change it to
Leto.
that. So
Yeah, and then it's gonna be Jared Liang Guang.
wait, Guion.
I got it. It's Guert.
It's
Guert.
Guion.
Guion.
Guert.
Ty, what have you seen lately? What are you looking forward to?
Guion.
So I watched a very great movie called Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill
You're a
again.
white man.
My
Oh,
gosh, I
isn't
don't
it
like
Mexican?
baseball, and it's probably one of my favorite sport movies of all time.
Yeah,
Right?
it's amazing.
And it doesn't. You don't even see the sports pretty much any.
Yeah, there's like
Brad
one
Pitt
thing
in
of
that
sports.
movie, hot dang, dude. I turned homo for a couple seconds in that movie. Holy shit. Dang, bro. When
And
he's
Chris
working
Pratt
out-
is in it, isn't he?
Yep,
Yeah,
Chris
he's a
Pratt,
It's
Paul player.
amazing. That movie.
It's a great movie.
The writing, Ty. You know who wrote it, right?
Aaron Sorkin,
Yes, freaking Aaron.
or is it
Sorkin.
Soderbergh? Or yeah,
Aaron. Yeah, same
Aaron
guy that did Social Network.
I'm aware.
I thought you were correct.
Oh, I almost confused the two. Wait, what did Sorkin do?
Well, and he also did the one where he's like, "I am the truth," or what did he say?
You can't handle the truth
You can't handle the truth.
with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's Sorkin, right?
Yeah.
Or no, that's
That's Aaron
okay.
Sorkin.
And then who am I thinking of? There's another one I'm thinking of.
Jack Nicklaus.
Soderbergh. What is Soderbergh?
Steven Soderbergh, he's a director.
I don't know, but what did he do?
Steven Soda. Steven Pepsney.
Oh wow, he did like none of the movies that I've
Boca
seen.
Bola,
Traffic,
Pepsi.
Behind Cinderella, Aaron Brockovich, Lies and Videotape.
Yeah, this episode is actually sponsored by Pepsney and Boca Bola. So shout out to our sponsors.
Well, he was a producer on Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's weird. But as far as directing,
we don't care.
Oh, The King. He was attached to The King. No, that's the documentary, not the.
No, he didn't direct it. That's David Michaud. That's my boy.
Michaud.
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 Oh, Logan Lucky. He did the Ocean's 12. See, I knew
Yeah.
him. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. That really bothered me because I kept confusing the two. So yes, Aaron Sorkin did the writing.
What else have you seen, Ty?
Moneyball was so good. I'm not done talking about it.
Well, we're gonna
Pitt's
do an
performance,
episode
Jonah
on it.
Hill's performance.
Dive
Will
deep
we?
in.
Will we ever get around to it, Jordan?
Yes.
I know you guys famously don't do sport movies.
Okay, so I watched the Chucky TV series, which is like absolutely horrible writing, and these kids are the worst actors of all time. But there's a lot of fun kills, like Chucky running around stabbing people. But some of them are pretty horrendous. But it's fun. I like it. It's campy. It's cheesy, and he is convincing kids to kill their other friends, and it's hilarious because he's manipulating them, and that's what he does.
Sounds like a quality family program.
Yeah. I'm also watching Day of the Dead. They have a TV series, which also horrible writing, but the gore is really fun.
Is it as good of writing as Army of Dead that I haven't seen?
Oh, brother, Army of Dead is trash.
Now they have a whole spin-off series about the bank vault guy
Yeah, I saw a trailer for
with
that.
no
It's dumb.
zombies, so I don't really know how you get people to watch it. I guess people watch bank heist movies still.
Also, been watching The Office with my wife. It's amazing, masterpiece show.
She hasn't seen it?
Can't wait till we do an episode about that. No, obviously she's seen it many times, but it was just fun rewatching it.
For sure. Good hobby.
Yeah. Oh, and then I watched a couple documentaries. Oh, I'm gonna forget his name.
Michaud.
This is so embarrassing. The guy who plays Jason. His story is unbelievable. The documentary is called To Hell and Back, and I just bawled my eyes out. Gosh dang, what he's went through. Some people have some amazing stories. The director was not great, But
Jason Momoa or who?
No, Jason the mask guy.
yeah, Jason the slasher.
The hash slinging.
This is
hash
Freddy.
ringing.
He all,
Yes, the hash slinging
This
slasher.
is Mike Myers, not Mike. This is the Halloween mask.
Baby Driver.
Jason. So he was in Victor Crowley. He played Victor Crowley.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's one ugly man.
Well, I mean that's with makeup, but
Just a little bit.
I sure hope he doesn't look like that.
Behind the scenes or whatever, the director's commentary, he's like, yeah, we saved a lot on our budget because he is that ugly in real life.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Check us out on Patreon, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a positive review. And
Tell Jordan how to pronounce me chode.
yeah, and then leave a review saying, Jordan, it's important that we leave reviews so other people listen to it, and it'll get pushed in the algorithms because Jordan doesn't understand how the digital age works.
or we can just do this because we have fun and we love it.
Yes, we're not in it for the money or the babes. We're just in it for the passion. Of
I'm in it
movies.
for the babes. I don't know. You guys
La
are in it.
pasión. Don't you have a girlfriend now?
I'm in it for the glory.
All right, everybody. This has been
For the
Future Hate
babes.
Movie
This
Jam
is just my
signing
backup
out.
in case I don't get
She
a
don't
job.
want you, Joe. She want my body. Yeah, this is.
Did you have my wife? Did you have my wife?
Grant quits his job and just he's like, I'm on a podcast full time, honey.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.